I'm back with another one, and this time we're starting the week off with Star Wars The Vintage Collection. This is pre-VIZSLA. And what is possibly the best use of this TVC Mandalorian mold? This is a really exciting one for me because it's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I just think pre-VIZSLA is really interesting. And it's really nice to see that we have the second iteration of his armor, which I think is the cooler looking one. This is probably going to go down as one of my favorites, but before we get too intense, let's go ahead and take a look at that card back. So this one's pretty basic, but I do think the image they chose is pretty good. It's just a image of him standing there, but it looks nice, and there's what it looks like on the back with the description. So to get the articulation out of the way, all we really have here is a retooling of that TVC Mandalorian mold, which is super common. Everyone should know what's up with that one. We do have those ball joints down at the hips, which is a bit of an update for the Mandalorian mold as a whole, but actually for all the Clone Wars Mandalorians we've gotten, they all have those ball joints at the hips. Everything else is pretty standard though. You get decent articulation on everything. The ab crunch is pretty restricted as normal, and you really don't get a whole lot with the head either because it just looks up that far and then looks down a little bit and not that much else. But we've got decent knee joints and decent ankle joints. You do have the ankle rockers on there, so you can put them in a lot of different poses. Moving on to the sculpting and the overall visuals of the figure, we do have that really amazing helmet sculpt. It's one of my favorite helmets. The paint looks pretty good on this one. I've got no complaints with that. And really, I think pre-VIZSLA has always been a pretty interesting character, like in a relatable way, because he started out as this politician, and he did that so he could kind of live this double life of having influence within the political sphere of Mandalore, while also being the leader of Death Watch. Obviously, he's a man of noble cause.
I am a man of my word. Here is your granddaughter. As promised. Kill them. Kill them all. Never let the weak tell you what to do. Welcome to Death Watch.
He's doing this for his people.
Failure.
He knows that Duchess Satine is weak and incapable, off blasting Obi-Wan Kenobi's rope when really she should be leading the planet. So he's donned this facade of a well-meaning governor from Concord Dawn, all the while he's seeding the plot for the return of the true ways of Mandalore. But yeah, he's always been one of my favorite Mandalorians because his armor design, you've got the darker colors on here, and he's got a really interesting helmet with the antennae on there. It's giving like Optimus Prime Batman vibes. And I think it's pretty interesting how they give these types of characters the kind of ear horn elements on their helmets, as if to symbolize the leadership that they have over their people, their luminance that they have, and their connection with the more spiritual side of humanity, sort of like, I don't know, steeples on a church. And whether that's Optimus Prime with the Autobots, Batman with Gotham, or pre-VIZSLA with Death Watch and all of Mandalore. Because really he's trying to return Mandalore to its old ways of being a warrior society, while Duchess Satine is trying to make them pacifists. And it doesn't matter if he's right or wrong, I think he fights a pretty honorable fight. It was a shame he died the way he did. So taking a look at the accessories for this figure, he does have a removable helmet, which is stuck on there pretty good, and it's not molded in this super soft plastic that's gonna look dumb and like become malformed in the packaging. It's actually a more solid plastic. There's a look at his face sculpt. Looks really good. I like the paint on there a lot. Very accurate. So there's the helmet. We also got this pretty unique jetpack, which we have not seen before in the vintage collection. It can pop off like that. He does have those stupid, like paper thin Mandalorian pistols in his holsters. He's got two of those. I'm not going to show those off too much. They're not very interesting. But he also has the Darksaber, which is going to be one of the few times we get this in the vintage collection. It's got some nice printing on there, but overall it's not anything too crazy. It is going to get bent probably. I've tried reforming it, like heating it up and then trying to reform it, stuff like that. It didn't work, clearly, but it's still a really nice accessory to get. Just wish they would have made it with a harder plastic. So that was pre-VIZSLA from the vintage collection, and that about does it for this video. Definitely one of my favorite action figures I've ever got. Just one of my favorite characters. I think it's a great depiction of him. Everything is super accurate. The paint, the sculpting, just looks really good, really cool looking as well. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.